sea swimming, cold water therapy, ice baths, cold showers, however you name it, it's been pretty trendy of late, hasn't it? And what are those extra benefits for us in menopause? Are they a real thing, or is it just a fad? Is it just a passing trend? Well, actually, there is a real benefit for us in perimenopause and in postmenopause too. And part of that benefit is because exposure done regularly to cold water, even if it's just a short amount of time, then it does have a positive impact on the part of the body which is dealing with our stress management. It's helping to activate the the parasympathetic nervous system, an internal part of the body's wiring which helps our stress management, our natural stress management system. And I know what you're thinking, of course getting into cold water like the sea behind me right now, which I'm going to get in soon, of course that is going to elicit some kind of response, a stress response, of course it is. But yeah, there is a benefit to that, so just let me explain. In menopause, we're more prone to the problems of imbalanced cortisol and stress, and that can have a negative effect on things like our weight, our energy levels, sleep, anxiety, mood swings, all sorts of things. So anything that helps us to regulate and rebalance cortisol at a better level, at a better balance with all the other hormones, will help us to feel better and more ourselves. Many of my clients and even some friends have been really keen to tell me about how regularly exposing themselves to cold water, and that sounds a serious and clinical way of putting it, but even if you don't live next to the sea like me, it's things like turning the shower to cold for the last 30 seconds or so. They've been telling me how it helps with things like anxiety and depression and mood in general. It helps them with hot flushes, sleep and brain fog and general mental acuity and even memory. And also joint aches and pains, and that one's for a really good reason. I'll explain that one in a minute. With wild swimming or sea swimming, I've read all sorts of articles and also participated myself in group swims where you feel that kind of community and shared experience, and you get the endorphins and giggling together, and that helps lift mood. It helps the endorphins as well. It helps to balance the stress. But the benefits to us in menopause go beyond whether you have access to a river or an ocean or a beach, and it goes beyond whether you're doing it as a group as well. So there's got to be more to it than just that shared experience thing. Being in cold water, or even just showering with a quick blast of it, even if it's not icy cold, it appears to push the body into something called cold adaptation. This is helping your body to naturally reduce internal inflammation. Now, that term is used to describe a process that happens naturally as part of being alive, and it also increases as part of aging and as part of menopause. The problem with increased inflammation, particularly when it is chronic and when it goes above natural and normal levels, is that it will increase and exacerbate existing menopause problems. Yeah. So basically, internal inflammation is a natural thing, but when it's on the rise due to menopause and other things like aging, it makes everything else feel much worse. It makes menopause problems worse. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong end of the stick with this, because when I say internal inflammation, it sounds a little bit like heat, doesn't it? Inflammation and heat. And of course, getting into some cold water is going to cool things down, but we're not actually talking about temperature here. What I'm really referring to is inflammation as part of a cellular response, which reduces our activity in the end of the immune system and reduces overall health and well-being and encourages disease. However, giving ourselves a short, sharp shock with the cold water, however you choose to do it, however you are able to do it, appears to decrease significantly the inflammation that is going on in our body, and that in turn helps us to manage our own menopause symptoms. In a nutshell, cold water exposure helps us to be more resilient to physical stress, emotional stress, mental stress in many different ways, and helps us to be more resilient in terms of our bounce back ability from the inside out. Now, what I want to know is this something that you're willing to try yourself, or do you already do it? Are you a regular cold shower person, or do you get in an ice bath? What's your thing? Are you willing to try it? Let me know. And if you'd like to, we can continue this conversation and have a chat about it in the Menopause Done Naturally Facebook community. Right, I'm off for a dip.